Secrets, Chapter 15, Aragog, Part 2. Good thinking, said Ron. I liked mine too, but I'd probably blow up or something. Harry tapped Ron on the shoulder, pointing at the grass. 2 solitary spiders were hurrying away from the one light into the shade of the trees. Okay, Ron said, as though resigned to the worst. I'm ready. Let's go. So, with Fang scampering around them, sniffing tree roots and leaves, they entered the forest. By the glow of Harry's wand, they followed the steady trickle of spiders moving along the path. They walked for about 20 minutes, not speaking, listening hard for other noises, then breaking twigs and rustling leaves. Then, when the trees had become thicker than ever, so that the stars overhead were not visible, Harry Wand shone alone in the sea of dark. They saw their spider guides leaving the path. Harry paused, trying to see where the spiders were going, but everything outside his little sphere of light was pitch black. He had never been this deep into the forest before. He could vividly remember the Hagrid advising him not to leave the forest path last time he had been in there. But Hagrid was miles away now, probably sitting in a cell in Azkaban, and he had also said to follow the spiders. Something wet touched Harry's hand, and he jumped backwards, crushing Ron's foot, but it was only Fang's nose. What do you reckon? Harry said to Ron, whose eyes he could just make out reflecting the light from his wand. We've come this far, said Ron. So they followed the darting shadows of the spiders into the trees. They couldn't move very quickly now. There were tree roots and stumps in their way, barely visible in the nearer blackness. Harry could feel Fang's hot breath on his hand. More than once they had to stop so that Harry could crouch down and find the spiders in the one light. They walked for what seemed like at least half an hour, their robes snagging at low-hung branches and brambles. After a while, they noticed the ground seemed to be sloping downwards, though the trees were thick as ever. Then Fang suddenly let loose a great echoing bark, making both Harry and Ron jump out of their skins. What? Said Ron loudly, looking around the pitch dark of gripping Harry's elbow very hard. There's something moving over there, Harry breathed. Listen, sounds like something big. They listened. Some distance to their right, the something big was snapping branches as it carved a path through the trees. Oh no, said Ron. Oh no, oh no, oh. Shut up, said Harry frantically. It'll hear you. Hear me, said Ron in an unnatural high voice. It's already heard. Fang! The darkness seemed to be pressing on their eyeballs as they stood, terrified, waiting. There was a strange bumbling noise and then silence. What do you think it's doing? Said Harry. Probably getting ready to pounce, said Ron. They waited, shivering, hardly daring to move. Do you think it's gone? Harry whispered. Dunno. Then, to their right, came a sudden blaze of light, so bright in the darkness that both of them flung up their hands to shield their eyes. Fang yelped and tried to run, but got lodged in a tangle of thorns and yelped even louder. Harry! Ron shouted, his voice breaking with relief. Harry, it's our car. What? Come on. Harry blundered after Ron towards the light, stumbling and tripping. A minute later, they had emerged into a clearing. Mr. Weasley's car was standing empty in the middle of a circle of thick trees under a roof of dense branches, its headlamps ablaze as Ron walked open-mouthed towards it. It moved slowly towards him, exactly like a large turquoise dog greeting its owner. It's been here all the time, said Ron, delighted, walking around the car. Look at it, the forest turned it wild. The wings of the car were scratched and smeared with mud. Apparently it had taken to trundling around the forest on its own. Fang didn't seem at all keen on it. He kept close to Harry, who could feel him quivering, his breathing slowly down again. Harry stuffed his wand back into his arms. And we thought it was going to attack us, said Ron, leaning against the car and patting it. I wonder where it had gone. Harry squinted around on the flood-lit ground for signs of more spiders, but they had all scuttered away from the glare of the headlights. We've lost the trail, he said. Come on, let's go and find them. Ron didn't speak. He didn't move. His eyes were fixed on the point some 10 feet above the forest floor, right above Harry. His face was livid with terror. Harry didn't even have time to turn around. There was a loud clicking noise, and suddenly he felt something long and hairy seize him around the middle and left him on the ground, so that he was hanging, face down, struggling, terrified. He heard more clicking, and he saw Ron's legs leave the ground too. Heard Fang whimpering and howling. Next moment, he was being swept away into the darkness. Head hanging, Harry saw that what he had hold of him was marching on 6 immensely long, hairy legs, the front 2 clutching him tightly below a pair of shining black pincers. Behind him, he could hear another creature, no doubt carrying Ron. They were moving into the heart of the forest. Harry could hear Fang fighting to free himself from a third monster, whining loudly, but Harry couldn't have yelled even if he wanted to. He seemed to have left his voice back with the car in the clearing. He never knew how long it was in the creature's clutches. He only knew that the darkness suddenly lifted enough for him to see that the leaf-strewn ground was now swarming with spiders. Craning his neck sideways, he realized that he had reached the rim of the vast hollow, a hollow which had been cleared of trees, so that the stars shone brightly onto the worst scene he had ever clapped his eyes upon. Spiders. Not tiny spiders, like those surging over the leaves below. Spiders the size of cart horses, 8-eyed, 8-legged, black, hairy, gigantic. The massive specimen that was carrying Harry made its way down to the steep slope, towards a misty doom web in the very creature of the hollow, while its fellow closed in on all around it, clicking their pincers excitedly at the sight of its load. Harry fell to the ground on all fours as the spider realized him. Ron and Fang thudded down next to him. Fang wasn't howling anymore, but cowering silently on the spot. Ron looked exactly like Harry Fang.